All right, you royal rubberneckers, welcome to another deep dive.
Deep dive.
That's right.
Okay.
Into the life and times of none other than Prince Philip,
The Duke of Edinburgh.
the Duke of Edinburgh, Lizzie's long-suffering hubby.
He did have that kind of
Now, I don't know about you,
air about him, didn't he?
but the guy always looked like he'd rather be face down in a trough full of caviar than shaking hands with us mere mortals.
Well, he was
So was he just a royal pain in the arse?
born royal.
Or was there more to this grumpy geezer than meets the eye?
He was.
We've got a stack of sources here, mainly Wiki.
Yeah.
But trust me, it's juicier than a royal tell-all.
Oh, it's...
So let's dive in and see if we can separate the man from the myth, the legend from the...
Well, to understand Philip, you've got to go back to the beginning.
All right, back to the beginning. Hit me with it.
The guy was born a prince.
A real prince.
A real prince.
Like out of a fairy tale.
On a dining room table?
Hold up. On a dining room table? Were they short on royal cribs or something?
Yeah, apparently.
Talk about starting life with a silver spoon up your arse.
Yeah, but here's the thing. His childhood was anything but stable.
Oh, yeah.
18 months old, exiled from Greece with his family.
Exile, the guy was practically still shitting his diapers.
Pretty much, yeah.
Talk about a fucked up start.
Family scattered, sisters marrying German princes, some with, shall we say, interesting connections.
Nazi connections.
Yeah.
Let's just call a spade, you mean Nazi connections.
Let's just say they weren't exactly fighting for the Allies.
And what about his parents? Where were they in all this mess?
His mother struggled with mental illness, eventually institutionalized. Young Philip was shipped all over Europe, France, Germany, even dodging Nazis for a while there.
Jeez, the guy's childhood sounds like a history textbook on crack.
Eventually, he ended up at Gordonston, that hardcore Scottish boarding school.
Gordonston, wasn't that the school they sent all the posh kids to toughen them up? Like some kind of Spartan training ground for the upper crust?
Exactly. Very much focused on outdoor activities and character building through some pretty, well, let's say, rigorous methods.
Rigorous. Sounds more like they were trying to beat the posh out of them.
It definitely fostered resilience and probably contributed to his, let's say, forthright personality later in life.
Yeah, I could see how all that would make you a bit prickly.
But let's not forget, the dude was a war hero.
Oh yeah, the war hero bit. Tell me more about that.
Joined the Royal Navy at 18, just before World War II kicked off.
So the guy went from posh boarding school to dodging torpedoes. That's quite a leap.
He saw some serious action. The Battle of Crete, the Battle of Cape Matapan.
Cape Matapan, wasn't that a nighttime naval battle?
It was, and during that battle, he controlled the searchlights.
Searchlights in a night battle. That's like playing hide and seek with battleships in the dark.
It was a crucial role.
Crucial. The guy was basically the eyes of the fleet.
Precisely, and his actions were pivotal for the British victory.
No wonder they gave him all those medals.
Awarded by Britain, Greece, even the Croix de Guerre by France.
Croix de Guerre, that's a pretty big deal, right?
One of France's highest military honors, awarded for bravery in the face of the enemy.
So we've got exiled royalty, war hero, medal magnet. This guy's CV is more impressive than a trust fund kid's Instagram feed.
He was quite the character.
But did all this action hero stuff help him bag the future Queen of England? That's the real question.
Well, their paths first crossed when Elizabeth was just 13 and he was 18. They started writing letters, and the rest, as they say, is history.
Letters. Sounds like something out of a Jane Austen novel, only with less petticoats and more battleships.
It was a different time.
But come on, marrying the queen. That's not just winning the lottery, that's winning the whole damn jackpot.
Well, back then, for a princess to even think about marrying a commoner, even one with royal blood, was unheard of.
Commoner. The guy was a prince. Okay, a dethroned prince. But still.
It was a big deal for the British monarchy. Philip had to renounce his Greek and Danish titles, become a British citizen, even take his mother's family name, Mountbatten.
Talk about jumping through hoops for love.
It was a huge sacrifice.
Yeah, swapping a crown for a chance with the queen, I guess some sacrifices are worth it.
They did stay married for over 70 years.
Longer than most people can stand their in-laws, let alone each other.
But their dynamic, that's something historians are still trying to figure out.
Elizabeth, the stoic queen, duty first, and Philip.
Well, let's just say he was a bit more, shall we say, off the cuff.
He was known for his, colorful remarks.
Colorful. The guy was a walking gaffe machine.
He certainly had a knack for stirring up controversy.
A knack. It was more like a superpower. Colorful. The guy was a walking gaffe machine, a verbal landmine waiting to explode.
Well, let's talk about some of those infamous gaffes then, shall we?
Oh yeah, let's dish the dirt. Give us the good stuff.
Where do we even begin?
I don't know. How about that time he told those British students in China they'd get slitty-eyed if they stayed there too long?
Ah, yes, the slitty-eyed remark. Not his finest moment.
Or how about when he shared his thoughts on Cantonese cuisine, saying it was full of ghastly muck?
Well, in his defense, the guy basically insulted an entire culture's culinary heritage.
You have to remember, Philip's generation, those attitudes weren't as outrageous back then.
Oh, so we should just give him a pass because he was a product of a less enlightened era. Is that what you're saying?
Not a pass, but we need to acknowledge that social norms evolve what was considered a harmless joke back then.
Harmless. Telling someone they'll get slitty-eyed, come on.
Is now seen as deeply offensive. That's progress, right?
Yeah, I guess, but some of that shit's just plain wrong no matter when you said it. It's like saying, oh, back then we used to burn witches at the stake. It was a different time. Doesn't make it right, does it?
Fair point. It's a complex issue. We can't erase history or hold people to modern standards that didn't exist in their time.
So what, we just sweep it under the rug and pretend it never happened?
No, but we can learn from the past and strive to do better.
Well said. So, Prince Philip, the verbal landmine, a walking, talking collection of offensive quips.
He was certainly known for his outspoken nature.
Outspoken. The guy was a master of the foot-and-mouth maneuver.
He didn't always think before he spoke, that's for sure.
But is that all there is to the guy? A never-ending reel of cringeworthy comments? There's got to be more to the story, right?
There is. He had a genuine passion for conservation, a founding member of the World Wildlife Fund, a vocal advocate for protecting endangered species.
Wait a minute. Wasn't this the same guy who enjoyed a spot of big game hunting?
Well, yes.
Seems a bit hypocritical, doesn't it? Shooting majestic animals while preaching about conservation.
What's a contradiction that's hard to ignore?
It's like a vegan who secretly binges on bacon cheeseburgers.
Exactly. A bit of a mixed message.
So which one was the real Philip? The eco-warrior or the trigger-happy hunter?
It's not about picking sides. It's about acknowledging the complexities of a human being. Philip was a man of his time.
With all its contradictions and flaws.
Precisely. He contained multitudes, as they say.
So he was passionate about nature, but also like blasting the shit out of it. I guess even royals can be messed up.
He was a complex individual.
Anything else besides the whole conservation thing? Didn't he do some work with young people?
Oh, absolutely. The Duke of Edinburgh's award scheme. He was incredibly passionate about that.
Oh, yeah. The Duke of Edinburgh's award. What was that all about again?
It's a program for young people, encourages them to get involved in community service, develop life skills, push their boundaries. It's still going strong today, has helped millions of kids around the world.
So the old boy wasn't all bad after all, a mixed bag, I guess. But what was the real impact of this award thing? Was it just some posh kids club, or did it actually make a difference?
It's had a huge impact. Kids from all walks of life, not just the posh ones, have benefited from it. The program's focus on self-reliance, leadership, and community engagement has been transformative for countless young people.
Sounds pretty impressive.
It has empowered them to develop skills, build confidence, and become active, engaged citizens. It's a legacy that continues to have a positive ripple effect across generations.
Damn, that's actually pretty cool. So we've got a war hero, a conservationist with a hunting habit, a champion for youth development, and a master of the offensive quip.
He was a man of many facets.
It's like this dude was trying to be all the things at once.
He was a complex figure, no doubt about it, a product of his time, but also someone who strived to make a difference, even if he often stumbled along the way.
Well, he certainly kept things interesting, didn't he? Never a dull moment with Prince Philip. But what does it all mean? Was he just a relic of a bygone era, clinging to outdated views? Or was there more to him than met the eye?
That, my friend, is the million-dollar question, the one we'll try and answer when we come back.
So we're back, and our heads are spinning faster than a royal corgi chasing its tail. We've sifted through the royal crap, uncovered the good, the bad, and the downright ugly of Prince Philip. So what's the verdict? Was he a total asshat, or just a product of his time?
He was definitely one of a kind.
Yeah. Got that right. But seriously, how do we square the war hero, conservationist, Duke of Edinburgh's award advocate with the guy who couldn't resist a casual racist remark or a culturally insensitive jab?
Well, I think it's important to remember, people are complicated. Philip was a walking, talking contradiction. A product of his time, sure, but also someone who challenged conventions. He was thrust into the spotlight, expected to play the role of the dutiful royal consort, but he clearly had his own mind and wasn't afraid to speak it, even if it got him into hot water.
He was like a bull in a china shop, except the china shop was full of delicate social norms and expectations. But here's the thing that gets me. The guy lived to be 99. That's a hell of a long time to witness the world changing around you. Did he ever really adapt, evolve, get with the times?
He did apologize for some of his more outrageous gaffes later in life, but there was always this sense that he was stuck between two worlds. The world he was born into, with its rigid hierarchies and unspoken rules, and the rapidly changing world of the 21st century.
Trying to navigate a world where being royal was no longer just about bloodlines and titles, but about PR and public image. I mean, I have a meltdown if I get a bad Yelp review. Imagine dealing with global scrutiny every time you open your mouth.
It couldn't have been easy, and yet he forged his own path, embraced his role as a champion for causes he believed in, whether it was conservation or youth development, used his platform, however flawed his approach may have been, to try and make a difference.
You can't deny his commitment. Wasn't just sitting around polishing his medals and sipping tea. So what's the takeaway here? What can we learn from a life as messy and contradictory as Prince Philip's?
I think it shows us that judging people, especially those in the public eye, isn't always simple. Philip wasn't perfect, but he wasn't a devil either. He was a man trying to find his place in a world that was constantly shifting beneath his feet. Made mistakes, some huge, some funny, but he also left behind a legacy that goes beyond the headlines.
Well said. A right royal enigma wrapped in a gaffe-prone shell. And maybe that's what makes him so damn interesting. He reminds us that even the most polished individuals are just flawed humans trying to make sense of it all, just like us.
And sometimes those flaws are what make them relatable, endearing even.
There you have it, folks. Prince Philip. The royal rebel, the conservationist hunter, the gaffe-prone grandpa. A man of contradictions, a product of his time. And yet, somehow, always managed to stay ahead of the curve. Love him or hate him, you gotta admit, he kept us entertained.
And made us think.
And made us think. Cheers to that. Well, you magnificent bastards, that's another deep dive done and dusted. We'll be back with more mind-blowing explorations of the weird, the wonderful, and the downright controversial. Until then, stay curious, stay informed, and try not to piss anyone off. Unless you're going for that whole Prince Philip level of notoriety, of course.
Yeah.